It's November of 1718. As dawn breaks over the turbulent waters of Ocracoke Inlet in North Carolina, the crew of Robert Maynard's ships eat a stale breakfast. The pirate hunter, Robert Maynard, doesn't seem to mind his unappetizing meal, however. His resolve is unwavering. Maynard is determined to capture the notorious pirate Blackbeard, but, unknown to him, Blackbeard and his crew have been anticipating the impending attack. From their vantage point on Ocracoke Island, they spotted Maynard's ships approaching and swiftly sprung into action. Blackbeard quickly formulated a plan to turn the tables on the unsuspecting pirate hunters. He ordered his crew to fortify their position, erecting makeshift barricades using sandbags, deck boards, and rocks, and preparing their cannons for the impending assault. As Maynard's ships grew closer, Blackbeard watches from the shore, a sinister grin playing across his rugged features. He knows that the element of surprise is on his side, and he intends to make the most of it. On his own ship, Maynard suspects nothing. His intuition tells him the drunken bastards are probably asleep in their nests, sitting ducks to his impending ambush. The British ships round the corner of a large cliff face, and, within moments, the silent inlet is bombarded with the sounds of roaring cannons. Blackbeard's ships and outposts fire a volley of cannonballs upon the British, piercing the hull of one ship and dismembering the first mate of another. Maynard's cannons roar to life as they unleash their own barrage of fire toward the pirate stronghold, but Blackbeard's defenses hold firm, resisting the onslaught as strongly as possible. Lead tears through the wooden hulls of both parties' ships. One of Maynard's ships floats off course, ramming into the cliff face, chaos erupting as the pirate hunters scramble to regain their footing amidst the battle. In the middle of the cannon smoke, Blackbeard himself calmly emerges from the shadows, his imposing figure silhouetted against the backdrop of smoldering flames. With a fierce battle cry, he leads his crew into the fray, swinging across the water and landing on Maynard's ship, wielding his cutlass with deadly precision. The air is assaulted by the sounds of clashing steel and roaring cannon fire. As Blackbeard and Maynard lock eyes across the chaos of battle, a silent understanding passes between them. This will be a duel to the death. With the thunderous crash of metal, their blades meet in a flurry of strikes and parries, each combatant matching the other blow for blow. Blackbeard's massive frame looms over Maynard, his strength and skill evident in every swing of his cutlass. Maynard, though outnumbered and outmatched, refuses to back down. With lightning-fast reflexes, he swings at the pirate's throat. Blackbeard just narrowly dodges the attack before Maynard swings again, cutting Blackbeard's cheek. Blackbeard staggers backward, pressing his hand to his bloody face. He takes his thumb, pressing it against his red cheek, and wipes the crimson blood across his forehead. In a scream so deep and loud, it sounded as though the devil himself had shouted. Blackbeard ran towards Maynard, shoving him backwards and punching his chin with his bloodied hand. Maynard trips, falling back against the railing of the ship. He raises his sword to defend himself, but this would prove to be a move made in vain. With a savage roar, Blackbeard delivers a crushing blow that sends Maynard sprawling to the deck. His shoulder bones shattered. As Maynard struggles to rise, Blackbeard looms over him, his cutlass poised to deliver the final blow. With a grunt, he raises his sword high into the air and swings it down upon Maynard's throat. The smoke soon settled, revealing the horrific massacre of the British pirate hunters. Blackbeard, satisfied with his victory, washes his face and hands in the salty brine of the inlet. As the night falls upon the North Carolina shores, Captain Blackbeard and his fleet sail for Nassau. Blackbeard's small fleet approaches the shores of Nassau in the Bahamas. A black smoke rises from the town. Gone are the bustling docks and slimy taverns that once defined the pirate republic. In their place, chaos reigns supreme, with rival pirate factions vying for control amidst the ruins. Stepping ashore onto the sandy beaches of New Providence Island, Blackbeard surveys the scene before him with a grim determination. His mind has but one goal: to restore order to the chaos that has engulfed the pirate republic. Rallying his loyal followers to his side, he wastes no time in ruthlessly organizing the disunited pirate clans into a formidable force to defend against what he believes to be an impending British assault. Gathering the leaders of the various pirate factions, including Benjamin Hornigold, Henry Jennings, and John Augur, Blackbeard laid out his plan to unite them under a single banner, forging a common front against their common enemy. With his commanding presence, and some bribery and intimidation, he convinces them to set aside their squabbles. He seats himself at the head of a long mangrove table around which the pirate lords are gathered, and offers, cutlass in hand, the promises of plunder and glory to those who pledge their allegiance to him. The pistol-armed guards lining the rear wall made it clear that those who refuse to comply will face dire consequences. Discipline and cohesion were Blackbeard's favorite words on Nassau. It was discipline and cohesion which the pirate constantly considered his newly reorganized pirate republic to have none of. Among the ranks, Blackbeard spent day and night training them, drill after drill, test after test, until they mastered, or at least mimicked, the art of fearsome naval warfare and defensive fortification. Under Blackbeard's leadership, the pirates underwent a rigorous training regimen, honing their skills. With each passing day, their confidence grew, and previously deadly rivalries for power became rivalries over who could impress Blackbeard and meet his high standards better. With Blackbeard at the helm, the Pirate Republic began to rise from the ashes, its strength and unity restored. Under his iron-fisted leadership, the pirates of Nassau worked tirelessly to fortify their defenses, erect watchtowers, and employ rudimentary sea mines, large barrels of gunpowder sealed with rags and palm leaves attached to floating debris and buoys and anchored to the seafloor. As weeks became months, Blackbeard's efforts bore fruit, and the once disorganized pirate bands transformed into a formidable fighting force. With their ranks bolstered and their resolve hardened, they stood ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead, united in their defiance against the forces of law and order. February of 1720. A thick fog blankets the waters surrounding the Bahamas. Alarm bells ring out across the Pirate Republic of Nassau. On the horizon, a fleet of 5 ships approached the islands. Privateers watched from their hidden towers. The ships bore the Union Jack. This display of naval might was the brainchild of none other than Governor Woodes Rogers. Blackbeard wasted no time springing into action. With the fate of his pirate kingdom hanging in the balance, he knows that decisive action is needed to fend off the British invaders. With his loyal followers at his side, Blackbeard sets out to confront Governor Rogers and his fleet. John Augur and his fleet of 2 ships set sail from New Providence to defend the main island. 50 additional men from Jamaica join him in a smaller ship, but break course with his fleet to sail closer to the British ships. Benjamin Hornigold's fleet of 3 heavily armed ships flank the British from the right, while Henry Jennings' fleet of 3 make an attempt to flank from the left, but are slow to organize. The British fleet splits in 2, with 3 of the ships drawing closer to Nassau, and 2 heading southeast towards Jamaica. John Augur's fleet emerges from the fog to deliver a blind barrage of cannon fire. Caught off guard by the sudden onslaught, the British vessels falter, their hulls punctured and their crews thrown into disarray. The cries of the wounded and the bright explosions of cannons can be seen and heard as Augur and the 2 British boats continue their fighting into the fog. Suddenly, explosions erupt as the sea mines are hit by the combatants. On the other flank, Benjamin Hornigold's heavily armed fleet moves to intercept the remaining 3 British ships approaching Nassau. With cannons ablaze, smoke and ash filling the lungs of the pirates and their sails blowing in the wind, Hornigold's fleet rains down destruction upon the unsuspecting British vessels. Meanwhile, 2 smaller pirate ships are sent to board the British vessels. The British ships shake as they're rammed by the pirates. The boarding pirates swing from ropes and land on the deck, swords clenched between their teeth. They face fierce resistance from the determined British. A scramble ensues as the cannons are hastily turned towards the vessels at their side. The British soldiers fend off waves of invaders as their boats break free of the collision, splintering boards and chunks of the hull falling into the ocean. Governor Rogers himself walks into the fray, his sword flashing in the obscured sunlight as he cuts down pirate after pirate with ruthless efficiency. But for every pirate felled, 2 more seem to take their place, their ranks bolstered by the sheer determination to defend their homeland. As the British fleet charges forward, having rid themselves of the pesky boarding pests, they approach the docks of Nassau with a false sense of confidence. but their arrogance is short-lived as a second frenzy of cannons assault the front of their ships, tearing through wood and metal with devastating force. As Governor Woodes Rogers peers through his binoculars towards Nassau's shores, his eyes widen in shock and disbelief at the sight before him. Blackbeard's cunning has outmatched his expectations once again. Rows of cannons positioned along caves, outcrops, docks, and fortillas along the northeastern part of Nassau unleash an initial barrage upon the approaching British fleet. Rogers' vessel violently shakes again, throwing the soldiers and Governor Rogers himself to the floor. Realization hits the captain and his crew. They've struck a sandbar. The British flagship is now a sitting duck, sinking into the sea. Without delay, the soldiers scramble to the two other ships in their fleet, some mounting the rowboats to launch an assault on the shore. The rowboats are plucked one by one out of the sea by the deadly accuracy of the pirate cannons, leaving even more men stranded and vulnerable amidst the chaos of battle. Small skirmishes erupt on the beaches as a handful of soldiers manage to make it ashore, but they are quickly overwhelmed by the fierce resistance of the pirate defenders. The two remaining ships in Rogers' fleet turn to avoid the sandbar as Rogers jumps, swinging onto a snagged sail rope and landing on the line ship as he abandons his flagship. He stands up, wiping his bruised hands on his uniform before stepping back in shock. Before him, a massive Spanish galleon emerges from the fog, consumed in flames. Atop its mast, a black flag adorned in a skull and bones waves, embalmed in smoke and fire. The flagship of Henry Jennings' acquired armada rams into Rogers' line ship, its foremast falling upon the line ship. The blaze catches the British vessel, unleashing a torrent of flaming fury upon the British ships. As the flames consume the once mighty vessels, panic grips the remaining British sailors, their cries of despair drowned out by the roar of the flames and the thunder of cannon fire. In a matter of moments, the British fleet is reduced to smoldering wreckage, their hopes of victory dashed against the rocks of Nassau's shores. Blackbeard watches from the safety of the beach, a satisfied grin spreading across his face as he witnesses the downfall of his enemies. With the threat of the British fleet neutralized, the Pirate Republic of Nassau stands victorious once again, its strength and unity reaffirmed under the leadership of the indomitable Blackbeard. The air was still thick with the smell of rum and the sound of laughter. Blackbeard, now aged but still formidable, is drunkenly dancing with his men, celebrating their recent plunder of a British trade ship bound for Trinidad and Tobago. The pirates revel in their victory, raising their tankards in toast to their fearless captain. But amidst the jubilation, Blackbeard's attention is suddenly drawn to a messenger who approaches him bearing a sealed letter. With a drunken grin, Blackbeard eagerly takes the letter and breaks the seal, his curiosity piqued. As he reads the content of the letter to himself, a hush falls over the tavern, the revelry silenced by the weight of the words. For a moment, Blackbeard is stunned into silence, the gravity of the request sinking in. Then, with a sudden clarity, Blackbeard's expression hardens, his eyes flashing with determination. Without a word, he hastily rises from his seat and rushes out of the tavern, leaving the letter lying forgotten on the floor. Curious, the messenger picks up the letter and reads it for himself, his eyes widening. The letter is from none other than George Washington, the leader of the American Revolution, asking the pirate king, Blackbeard, to join the fight to rid America of the British and to form a revolutionary navy. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more. Mr. Z out.